Hey!
What's happening?
Welcome back, Two Fat Drunks.
Two Fat
JDP.
Drunks. War Pig on the best show on the internet.
As usual, we apologize for last week's episode.
Whatever I did, listen, I am drunk when this show happens. No idea what I'm talking about most of the time, right off the top of my head. Any racial slurs you heard, I'm really sorry.
No, on this week's episode, we are going to celebrate the life and times of R Lee Ermey.
The Sarge.
The Sarge, the Gunny himself, who passed away this week.
I know. Dude, my daughter was bummed out.
Yeah, it's, I mean, on one hand, he was a heavy smoker, and it's not unexpected. And I think he actually was way older than I thought he would ever get to be honest.
Wasn't he 82?
No, I think he was 73, but close.
I'll just go with 82.
Anyway, so we're going to talk a lot about R Lee Ermey and the movies he's in, of course, Full Metal Jacket, but a couple of other ones, including one that we're really going to talk about, The Boys from Come See Anyway, coming up next!
I'm not on the internet.
Speaking of R Lee Ermey, here's a toast to the Gunny right now.
Sorry, guys, that's fucking. It is terrible. I was legitimately bummed when I heard about it. Because
there are very few guys in the industry that I think, well, geez, I really wish I had a chance to work with them. Like, I don't feel that way at all about Robert De Niro, say, but I do feel that way
turned
about
into a fucking asshole.
Yeah, but just why? I mean, he's just all used up. R Lee Ermey was still good all the way up to the end. Those TV shows they did, Mailbag and
Mail Call for the History Channel back like when they actually did history.
And then I think that was all over it. And then I think he did another show after that where he compared weapons specifically.
Yeah, it was like a firepower show. Or
yeah,
like that.
And one episode,
then he also did specials for them too, like during Firepower Week or whatever the hell it was.
But certainly one of the more famous guys probably going.
Emblematic of the Marine Corps.
Well, but
wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, I guess. But, I mean, just someone like our dads might know who he was, and your daughter knew who he was. So, I mean, one of those universally
admired.
And for a guy who wasn't maybe not the greatest actor, because, I mean, you hired R Lee Ermey to be R Lee Ermey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't like you wanted to hire him to give you a sensitive, hand-holding, gay love story type of actor.
Brokeback Mountain with the Gunny.
With R Lee Ermey, yeah. How would that work out?
I can't quit you!
Did your parents have any children that lived?
Now pull down those pants, Private.
I bet they regret that.
Woohoo!
I can't quit you. You will make love to my butthole right now.
I'm sorry, R Lee.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Maybe we should just do the entire
fucking
show.
So, what are we talking
R Lee Ermey, of course, became world famous overnight because of Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket.
That's correct. As Gunnery Sergeant Hartman to Matthew Modine's Joker.
So with that role made him an instant internet meme 30 years later.
Yeah, I mean, for all the movies of that period, he stands out still. I mean, among bazillions of videos and other movies, and actually became kind of the archetype for drill sergeants going forward in almost every film. They were all similar to that.
You judge everyone, both before R Lee Ermey's performance and after R Lee Ermey's performance in Full Metal Jacket, as where does it rank against the world's greatest drill instructor performance of all time, R Lee Ermey in Full Metal Jacket?
What is your R Lee Ermey ranking?
And I'll tell you, we have a poster of aliens over there, and there's of course a drill instructor, sergeant type character,
Apone,
yeah, who was a real Marine himself, or at least a real. I don't know if he was a Marine. I don't want.
I believe he was.
I think he was an actual Marine, but he was definitely military. And he fought in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. At least in Superior Firepower, they talk about
the aliens, making of aliens documentary.
Yeah,
which is excellent.
Very good. Yeah. And as great as he is in that part, he's still not as good as R Lee Ermey was in kind of a similar role in Full Metal Jacket. And, geez, I mean, in all the other movies that have come out 30 years since, who
could surpass that? Who could say, "Wow, you really paid? You played a drill instructor better than R Lee Ermey did." You know, and besides, also
not just a drill instructor, a military.
But
character.
that part was just so. You know, and now it's almost for it's for drill instructors what Dirty Harry is for cops. You know what I mean? Like the hard ass. I mean, that archetype. He created that archetype.
Do you suck dicks?
No, sir. Bullshit. I bet you can suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
I mean, just all the fantastic quotes,
snappy one-liners
that come out of that. Now, part of the failing, I guess, of Full Metal Jacket, it's kind of twofold. One, it's such a bifurcated movie. You have the first half with this amazing, transcendent performance by R Lee Ermey, and then he's not in the second half of the film. And that does let a lot of the wind out of the sails of that. Now, as I've kind of gotten older, I appreciate Matthew Modine's performance a little bit more. I do get a little bit more of what Kubrick was trying to say. But part of what Kubrick was trying to say in Full Metal Jacket is how horrible it is, the dehumanizing element that drill instructors do to their recruits. And, you know, you could not have a better actor than R Lee Ermey doing that. And I think R Lee Ermey's subsequent success and fame proved Kubrick completely wrong, and they're like, no, you need guys like R Lee Ermey if you want to have an effective fighting force. Like, you know, every fall, Americans, you know, talk a lot about, you know, the college football coaches and what coach is going to get the best performance out of their team and all of that. And well, drill instructors have to get their guys to go out and get shot at, and get bombs dropped on them, get mortars,
kill people and break things.
Right, kill, and look tough while doing it.
Right.
So their job is vastly more important than people who get paid a lot more money and have a lot more fame. And R Lee Ermey, because he was that.
Here's an interesting question. Besides devotees of the film, I mean, how many people really, from a pop culture perspective, even reference the second half of the film? I mean, it's so
they don't.
It's so different. It is two movies. I mean, it just shifts gears so hard.
They happen to have the same characters,
right? And just two of them at the very least.
Two of them, right?
But an additionally transcendent performance in the second half by Adam Baldwin as Animal Mother. Who was great. Now, obviously not anywhere near as famous as R Lee Ermey's performance because it's just such a tour de force. I mean, you could conceivably watch half the movie and be okay with it.
Now, some of the meta aspects about
give me a bottle opener, will you?
Full Metal Jacket is that it is very heavily based on a very little known film called The Boys from Company C.
Yeah, that's an interesting word you're using there. Based. I like that. That sounds a hell of a lot better than almost entirely lifted
Well,
from.
it's not completely stolen, but it is another film that relies very heavily on R Lee Ermey delivering a tough drill instructor part. Actually, a more realistic, honestly, performance because he is very over the top in Full Metal Jacket. I mean, he's just always an asshole.
Right.
You know, he's just completely a dickhead the whole time.
Whereas in Boys in Company C, it was closer to how he probably actually was.
Right.
And more importantly, I think this can't get lost.
Now, Boys from Company C came out 5 years earlier. 73, I think, 75.
It wasn't that old.
It was the first major Vietnam film to come out. But clearly, it was.
You think so?
Oh yeah, it was before
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now, 78, 79. It was definitely.
I thought it came after. Well after.
No.
But anyways,
I would bet big money on that.
What comes through in that movie is something he actually mentions later in his life in a couple of interviews when he talks about the role of the drill instructor.
From Kubrick or...
Oh, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. R Lee Ermey talks about his role as a drill instructor, and something that he felt very strongly about is where he would have to be training these young men to go to Vietnam. Because that's he
where
did that.
Going, right.
And he would feel that responsibility, knowing that I'm sending people... A percentage of these people, I am sending them to their deaths.
Well, but the other thing, and this is why Kubrick, I think, fails in his artistic attempt to get us to despise the Marines or whatever, is, well, wait a minute. If they are going to go, and they're going to go because they've been drafted.
For sure.
Whatever R Lee Ermey does is nothing compared to what they're about to see in the jungles of Vietnam.
He's not shooting at them.
He's not trying to kill them. He's trying to weed them out, trying to make them tougher, but he's not actually trying to murder them. And I think that is something that Kubrick never quite...
No, he's a little bit too much of a beta for that. And as great as he is, because, you know, the old man complained about that once. He's like, you know, I don't see a scenario where, what's his name?
Modine?
Nah, Pyle.
Yeah.
Doesn't see a scenario where that guy shoots the drill sergeant. He says, in fact, the guy probably would be thanking him because it does imply in the film he's a better Marine because of this level of abuse.
Well, that's part of the failing of the film, too, is when Gomer Pyle, Vincent D'Onofrio, goes over the edge. At that point, he's actually already past basic...
Right, he's a Marine. He's achieved it. He's a really
We finally found something you do well!
Right, and he gains the respect of his colleagues, and he's ready to go.
And actually, by the end, he's more knife-edge hard than Matthew Modine's character, who the comedian who starts fucking up all the time, and it's actually... Joker.
We got here a fucking comedian, Private Joker. Come on. I mean, that's so smooth. It just comes off so easy, you know what I'm saying?
Well, we'll get...
Hell, I like you.
We'll get into the specifics of that performance in a second. But, you know, just artistically, part of why Full Metal Jacket is such an interesting film and not a complete maybe 5-star film is because it is bifurcated. It is... Right. It does borrow very heavily from Boys of Company C, both in the bifurcation aspects
and the methodology,
the reliance on R Lee Ermey,
and the narration. I mean, there's a narration that follows the same path. I mean, it almost says the same things. Mm-hmm. You know, in terms of like
the bureaucracy of the army, the military being
being what it is.
A point.
Every government bureaucracy is like that.
Of course,
every bureaucracy is like that.
But they are very films, and when you watch them back to back, you go, oh. The idea
I see
that
what you were going for.
so let's get into that specific performance in
the Boys and Company.
In
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket is supposedly Kubrick just hired R Lee Ermey to be an advisor when the film was going into production.
Really?
And had cast another actor to play R Lee Ermey's role, like a normal actor, not a DI, but just an actor who would. And so R Lee Ermey was there, I guess, primarily to give out lines.
Kind of like Dale Dye-ish type situation with Platoon.
Dale Dye, I think, is an actual... Well,
I'm not saying he's not. What I'm saying is that in a similar capacity where you're giving technical advice.
Well, no, that's why I would say he wasn't. I don't think there ever was another actor. I think it was always R Lee Ermey, and because he so dominates that film, it's maybe only Nicholson in The Shining. But even in that, there's so much other stuff going on in The Shining.
That's an interesting.
But R Lee Ermey so dominates Full Metal Jacket that no one remembers that for the sterling direction. No. They remember it for R Lee Ermey's performance.
You don't even remember it for Matthew Modine.
You don't even know Modine's in it.
You're just like, or even Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean, you remember the character.
Who's had a better career than Modine after that?
Yeah, it's inarguable. Yeah, he actually had a pretty big career.
But they're both good actors. But everyone remembers that film right now for one reason only. R Lee Ermey.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Absolutely. So in the pantheon,
if you are Kubrick,
yeah,
and you have this legendary reputation and all that, where you control the bugs flying across the street, you meant that to happen. I mean, where everything was done on purpose, where you have this actor overshadow that film.
Yeah.
So much so that the second half of the film, nobody can. I mean, we can't because we watched the film a million times. But most
we're autistic.
At best,
retarded at worst.
It's an interesting thing, like Kubrick's process, and like, well, here's this guy who I've cut loose, going to make famous overnight, and overtakes this film. but I'm doing it because it's supposed to bring shame to the Marines, and they're like, no, all you did is make
Well, it doesn't work.
I was around 18 when that movie came out. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be in the goddamn Marine Corps. It didn't make me not want. There's the way Apocalypse Now made me want to be on a gunship.
Like, wow, maybe a chopper probably be sweet.
It's another one of those anti-war films that, like, I don't know if it. I don't like Platoon does it. Hamburger Hill does it.
Sure,
but not Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket.
Put you pro-war. Like, yeah, it doesn't look too bad.
And it's not. It's supposed to be completely, the winds of the war sucks or something like that.
What's that other flick he did?
War Blows,
In Harm's Way, all that sort of shit. Yeah,
so
great films, but I mean, yeah, with a decided anti-war edge. But yeah, seeing R Lee Ermey.
So you say, where does he rank as an actor?
Where does he? No. Where does he rank as famous character? I mean, you're talking like Quint from Jaws. Yeah. I mean, dude, I'm gonna go maybe
top 20.
Top 20.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking
Bogart in
in Casablanca. I mean, you're talking Rick. You're talking Indiana Jones. I mean, just only because
Connery is Bond.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the uniqueness of it. I mean, there's no mistaking that. Not for 1 second. It's Indiana Jones's hat. It's fucking Han Solo's blaster. It's fucking R Lee Ermey's drill sergeant. I mean,
also, more than that, the movie just isn't what it is without him.
Oh no!
Like
he is the film. I mean,
like they were going to cast Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones, but then CBS said, "F you, we have him for the TV show," and then it went to Harrison Ford. Well, I think Tom Selleck.
No diss to Tom. That's not a diss to Tom Selleck.
Fine.
No, I like Tom Selleck,
but it would not have been.
No, not
it would not. Look, Harrison Ford was the best American actor for like 10, 15 years ago, and Tom Selleck is just a good actor.
Before he gave up acting after Imprisonment. I'm sorry. Let's not get off track. But anyway, so weaponized autism. So anyway, so yeah.
But R Lee Ermey would, based on that performance, but he was in a million other movies. Like Best of the Best 3 is the one that I come up with.
You know what?
He's like a Nazi warlord or some shit. Like that, right?
He's in The Frighteners.
Is he?
He's in The Frighteners as himself. Just as a dead version of himself, where he, like, Michael J. Fox goes into a graveyard, and R Lee Ermey is buried at that graveyard and comes up as a fucking ghostly drill sergeant and actually helps him out at the end by firing twin M60s at this fucking evil thing. Yeah, actually, The Frighteners is kind of one of my weird little guilty pleasure movies. I kind of dig it.
The only reason I like The Frighteners is that it made Lord of the Rings happen. It's
because of his direction
tape
for Peter Jackson.
Yeah, just because they could pull off those effects for so little money.
You know why else?
New Zealand.
You know why else I like it? And this is going to shock you. Besides R Lee Ermey being in it, fucking there's a Busey in it, man. It's Jake Busey. Jake Busey is a very convincing serial killer.
Jake Busey should have a bigger career than he has.
I agree with that. I always thought Jake Busey was really, he's great in Starship Troopers.
He's great in everything he's in.
I mean, I don't know what this does. He? Well, I'm glad to hear that because I like Jake Busey. I think he's fucking great. You know, actually, I kind of think his dad's great. Really, I mean, insane as fuck, but. Yeah. So what other movies can you Boys and Company see? Full Metal Jacket. I remember him from Best and the Best 3. You Frighteners. The TV shows, of course, that he did. He's briefly in Apocalypse Now.
Oh yes, he's a gun.
Very briefly.
Get your case of beer for that one.
Because I think he says he's one of the guys that says we're gonna go down and check it out. I mean, he's that guy. But yeah dude, there's no way it's either him or his fucking twin brother. I mean, he looks so much like him. So why he's not
Dale Dye? Dale Dye is a very famous military advisor / actor. He's been in everything.
He's died away in Platoon.
Yeah,
he's actually been in a lot of movies as an actor too.
He's been in everything from Platoon, Lovely Fucking War, all the way up to the TV show.
Was he in World War Z?
An HBO Band of Brothers.
Boy, I swear he's in World War Z.
He plays a Colonel.
What's his fuck? Right. Colonel, what's his fuck?
World War Z.
I swear he's him. I'll have to check.
He's in a bunch of stuff.
Look, I'm drinking.
But we're doing a show, assholes.
Shut the fuck up. Kill that guy, whoever the fuck it is.
Jeremy.
Anyways, please continue.
But Dale Dye was clearly a military advisor where as a
military advisor,
whereas Full Metal Jacket, R Lee Ermey wasn't advising no military shit. He was just R Lee Ermey.
Show up and be himself, which is fucking great.
Yes, Jeremy, you're giving us a horrible look of disdain.
That's his default look at us. Like anytime he looks at us, it's like it's just disgust. Just fucking hates us.
I hate you.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Gunny.
Yeah. Fucking A. That's what we're talking about, man. That's the whole show, dude.
Already.
What movie? What movie do you remember him from? That's not Full Metal Jacket.
Shit. Frighteners.
We just talked about it. Yeah, he's in the Frighteners, dude.
I tripped on acid and watched that movie and it scared the shit out of me, dude.
I love you.
Man, oh my God, bro.
I saw the Frighteners at the Wyoming Drive-In in Detroit.
Really? Oh, I've been to
Wyoming. You can't
a couple
appreciate
of times.
it at the drive-in.
Dude, Frighteners is
I didn't.
It's a fun movie, isn't it? I mean, it's different, dude.
The visuals were insane at a good theater. When you watch in the walls when it's moving and
dude,
in the
is Jake
rugs.
Busey the bomb in that
when
movie?
you're on acid, it probably
really helps.
In freaking sane, I tell you.
But now Jake Busey as a serial killer. Come on, dude. He's pretty damn good at it. Yeah.
How he doing?
Imagine natural born killers with Jake Busey.
Way better.
Oh yeah, way better, dude. Almost instantly, right?
I can't hate Woody. That's a problem.
Yeah. It's hard to hate him. I mean, it's Woody Harrelson.
All right, so
his dad shot JFK.
Anything else that we should say about R Lee, other than he seemed like a great guy in real life?
He did seem like a genuinely nice dude, didn't he? I mean, to work with, he seemed like he was,
seemed like a total pro. He probably ended up being in 40 movies.
He lived Marine to the day he died.
Dude, he did love the Corps, right?
He lived and breathed it like you should, and it meant it to him.
Now, before we wrap it up, my understanding is that he was not actually a gunny sergeant in the Marines. They made him an honorary.
In 2002.
Yeah, they made him an honorary. But like he was
really?
A gunnery sergeant.
Yeah, he was just a staff sergeant.
That'd be interesting. That's an interesting
Well, I say
question.
just. I mean, that's
an interesting question. The release of Full Metal Jacket with R Lee Ermey's character. I would want to see the recruitment numbers for the Marine Corps. Did it impact recruitment for the Marine Corps? In the same way Top Gun impacted recruitment for the Navy.
Not in the same extent.
Kubrick it's amazing that at that time, what Stanley gave him the ability, said, you run with this, write your own stuff, and edit. He gave him the ability to edit and write his own.
That's what we're saying. Only Nicholson in Shining is another.
Was going to be allowed to do that.
But I don't even know that Nicholson was allowed to do that. I think that Jack just did exactly what Stanley said. Whereas clearly R Lee Ermey is just saying, right, he's just doing what he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean,
it's so.
I don't think it's in Kubrick to write that.
And
was rather.
And
rest in peace.
It's odd that that Kubrick, who was so famous for being so meticulous,
overpowering, and domineering.
One of the most famous films that he did, of course, has this actor who overshadows his direction. So we talked about that a little bit. But anyway, rest in peace, R Lee Ermey.
Rest in peace.
Hero to me, and as an actor or someone in the business.
Yeah.
And
so good for the industry and America to show that it doesn't have to separate.
True American.
Rest in peace.
All right, man.
Coming up next from the vault, and I think you can guess what we're going to be talking about.
I fucking ain't right.
All right, back from the vault. Now we're going to talk about musicals. No, we'll talk about R. Lee. All right, so obviously Full Metal Jacket. I would say back that up with probably Boys from Company C.
Yeah, it's obvious. I mean, for those of you who haven't seen Boys from Company C, I urge you to go check it out. Not only is it a great film by itself because of R. Lee Ermey, but it also, you will instantly see, like, am I watching Full Metal Jacket? I mean, it plays its basic training, and you follow some recruits, and they go over to Vietnam.
It will make you question, maybe the legend about Stanley Kubrick isn't, maybe it is a little approaching legend more than
for
just
that film. Would you think? I mean, are you going to go a little further here?
I think that, look, I know more about how movies are made than a lot of people. And if you watch the making of The Shining.
The Shining.
Do you want to get sued? Hello, Amber.
Yeah, just get here whenever. No, it's cool and everything.
It's fine.
Okay.
We're finishing up. Sorry about that, YouTubes. All 70 of you that watch this, thank you, by the way.
Yeah, hey, thanks for hanging out. I'm glad you guys watched the show. I really do. I hope you guys dig this as much as I dig drinking these beers.
But just the idea that Kubrick would take that movie kind of remake it and then use the same actor from that film as.
Yeah, that's kind of. Do you think he was taking advantage of the relative lack of notoriety for Boys Come to See? I mean, it wasn't that big of a film when it came out.
No, Boys Come to See is actually pretty hard to find, and
yeah, you can catch like clips on YouTube, but that's about it.
yeah, but it is worth. I don't know if it's on Amazon or what. Honestly, I mean, we have it, but search it out because R Lee Ermey is great in it. It's a little bit more believable. It's a little kind of like an Air America story in the second half,
right? Where they talk about like drugs back and forth.
And R Lee Ermey's not in the second half, though.
Also, not to be missed, I have to mention this.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
In Boys and Company C, there is an excellent performance by a Cuban drill sergeant.
Yes, he is another real drill instructor.
And he is absolutely...
He's actually maybe the second or best DI character in movie history.
And unrecognized. Yeah, you would never know it, but to see him in that movie...
I don't even know his name.
He does R Lee Ermey as a sawed-off Cuban, and he's badass.
Yeah, he's more of a drill instructor than R Lee Ermey is.
Right, because R Lee Ermey is like the senior, and he's like the, you know...
Yeah,
but his accent and everything is just fucking great.
Both films are good. Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Now, on a 5-star scale, where would Full Metal Jacket be for you? 4 or 5?
I'd have to cut it in half, wouldn't I? I mean, come on, can I go 4 and 3.5?
Well, no. If you can't give out, if you had to pick between
3.5,
not even 4. Wow.
Because the second half is not as good as the first.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's still pretty good though.
If I stopped watching it, actually before...
Here's my argument for why the second half is better than you think. Hawk the Slayer's in the fucking second half.
He is, isn't he?
Suck a dick.
Yeah,
Bam! I win!
I have to go to the second deck. Give me a drink.
Yeah, come on, man. Hawk the Slayer is John Terry, by the way. That is
John. Go make another Hawk.
Go make it with me.
I will fucking be in it in 2 seconds. Dude, I'll be like Gord. No, I'll be Sped the Hunchback. Right? I'll be Sped. I'll wear a fucking eye patch and go, welcome, friend. Right? Come on. The best ever. I'll be Sped.
It's not a jest.
It's not a jest. It's no jest.
Oh, my God, yeah. Anyway, John Terry is in that movie, so I'm going to give it 4 stars.
Joker, why are you still here?
Sure. You and Rafter, man, get on up. All I expect of my Marines is that they obey my word as though they would the word of God.
Got a peace symbol on your helmet.
Full Metal Jacket is clearly a 4-star movie, if not 5. But 4.
I'll go 4.
It introduced the world to R Lee Ermey, even though he had been in some other stuff.
No, but you know, you're right about that. It did. That's R Lee Ermey. It's Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, come on, man.
The last 20 minutes of Matthew Modine was the -1 star.
No, see, I disagree with you. I enjoy the second half more and more. Every time I watch the film, I enjoy
20 minutes. It's not.
But here's the thing, though. You have to look at it in this context. Could even John Wayne in his prime compete with fucking R Lee Ermey?
No.
So, I mean, it's nobody's fault.
But wait a second. Wait. I've changed my mind. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
The second half of Full Metal Jacket did introduce something very important.
The tank with the radio on the back of it?
No, dude.
The sniper who wastes all those guys? Alabama Black Snake?
Me so horny.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
So horny.
No second half Full Metal Jacket. No 2 Live Crew.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it might be a 6-star movie then.
You know what? I've changed my mind.
Thus,
I am now converted from
2 Live Crew to R Lee Ermey. The circle is complete.
You see it here first.
Okay, for that and more stupid things, like, subscribe, keep on coming. If you can find
share the shit. Show people
in your hearts to donate us 99 cents so we can...
Bitcoin. Give us Bitcoin.
It's going to give us freaking Bitcoin. Stupid ass.
R Lee Ermey was meaner than Leatherface in the remakes of goddamn Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2 of them.
I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre too.
Both of them were good.
Isn't part 2? Isn't fucking.
See, I worked with Gunner. I felt as a big traitor if I watched some other films.
No, they were good though.
Wasn't Gunner in 2 though? I thought he wasn't 2.
No, he wasn't either one.
Isn't Matthew McConaughey in one of them?
Oh no, I'm talking about the
3. I think
the remakes.
With Gunny.
Hell's Bells. Oh, okay.
That's the guy from Watchmen's in that, isn't he? Oh no,
Yeah,
he's a
what's
Freddy.
his name?
No, he's
Yeah,
Freddy.
he's Freddy. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway,
Hey,
drunk. And hey!
R Lee Ermey, rest in peace, and
I went the other way that time. You see that?
Oh, you go the
See
other
what I
way a
did?
lot.
Woohoo! Taking it in the ass. Do you suck dicks? Are you a Peter Puffer?
Did your parents have any children that lived? Sir, no, sir. I bet they regret that. Best
You're
part
so
of you
ugly.
ran down your mama's crack, then up a dry part on it.
You fucked it up. You fucked it up. It's all